Hey friends, it's Artsy, your usual delightful mess on YouTube. Welcome back. I think it's pretty obvious that I can't just do a build and focus solely on the build. My brain doesn't work like that. It likes to be thoughtful, often at 3 a.m., or when I'm trying to be mindful and quiet it down, but my brain isn't quiet, never has been. It's noisy, and recently it's super scattered. It's anxious, it's transforming. Parenthood, right? And that's probably why this island is hands down my favorite build yet. KidcARRR. Pirate KidcARRR. Me. Imagine. And here's what I mean about me being thoughtful. This build has had me thinking about obscurity in YouTube, about legacy, about mortality. So editor Artsy is going to have provided a content warning at the beginning because sometimes people just want to see a pretty build and don't want to be thoughtful. So I'll be sure to provide the times when my thoughtfulness is over and you can enjoy the finishing touches, or you can mute me and just enjoy the process. But maybe you're feeling thoughtful. And maybe you want to consider big ideas while I build an Animal Crossing. I have been looking forward to and dreading this build since I determined the dark lore for the island. Speaking of the lore, let's recap. The villagers are kids who survived a cruise ship crash. All the adults died. I know, so sad. Anyway, after a time they gathered resources and began creating a life for themselves on the island, making factions. There are three: the Peer Group, the largest and led by Rod, with aspirations of getting back to civilization by building rafts; the Treehouse Trio, led by Kid, turning their hopeless situation into opportunity and wanting to conquer other islands as ne'er-do-wells; and finally, the Cardboard Castle crew, led by Biff, who seem to have accepted their situation and have made a permanent dwelling with the debris of the crash, and obviously cardboard. That's what the build is for, the Cardboard Castle. Unrelated, I figured out how I'm going to do the scavenger hunt for this island. The first part is determining who is hiding the gears to fix up a ship for the kids to leave, and the second is finding the missing pieces. Fun, right? After this build, the island is basically done, so the dream address will drop after I transfer Fang over to my other island and I time travel to the summer. So stay tuned for that. Back to the regularly scheduled voiceover. Since becoming a parent, I'm amazed how in the moment my son is, how he experiences things in the now, yet how forever everything feels to him. In one instance, he's being held by one of his noble steeds, his parents, the best thing ever, and then the next, he's put down. And therefore, it's always been that way, and therefore life is decidedly awful. Moment to moment, everything feels permanent and forever, like cardboard forts. I recall making blanket forts for the day using the dinner table chairs. At the time, these creations felt they would outlast anything life threw at me, until it was time to tear it down. These forts were different every time I made them. Sometimes they were enormous and empty, including other furniture pieces like the couch or the living room table. Sometimes they were small, filled to the brim with stuffies and pillows. They were all different, yet the same fort. And so my goal for this build was to make it the way a kid would, adding onto it as needed, often chaotic, often unstable, and yet it feels like the most stable thing in the world. By the way, here is where we get super thoughtful and downright existential, and you're welcome to mute me or skip ahead, okay? Know your limits, really, I won't be upset. The hardest lesson a child learns is the lack of control they have in their lives. Around 7 or 8 years old, they learn about disappointment, injustice, and death. And parents are put in the most delicate position to add stability to the chaos, to teach self-soothing, to be honest about the chaos, but remind them that they do have stable foundations they can depend on when life feels too big. Usually, it's parents reiterating that they're loved. To tell them, yes, death happens. We are finite. The universe is finite. But the impermanence can be appreciated, even celebrated, as something that helps you roll with the punches when life gets hard. This got me thinking about YouTube. I never thought I'd be a YouTuber. You've heard me say that more than once, I know. Tried it once before and gave up after a video. No, I will not link it. Yes, it's that cringy. I never thought I'd make the friends I've made. Find joy and healing by streaming games and art. Never thought I'd love a game so much that it's part of everyday conversation in my household. My husband recently talked about how his favorite island drama of mine was between Mint and Vesta, and he doesn't even play the game. And it's most likely bad strategy, or I'm psychologically suggesting you not to do something so that you do it, but my goal isn't to make it big on YouTube. It never was. I don't know where the Artsy Gamer is going. 5,000 subscribers, 500,000 subscribers, but I do know I won't expect it to be such a groundbreaking cultural phenomenon that you utter, make art, play games, the Artsy Gamer, on your deathbed. That level of notoriety usually means I messed up big time, like invading Poland messed up, like started a cult messed up. My time on YouTube is a stepping stone, a place for growth and kindness, to be like a cardboard fort, exactly what you need in the moment, but not permanent. But content creation and I have a tumultuous relationship. I tell everyone, and everyone's grandma, it's great to have a financial goal with creating content. But if you're just creating content to go viral, get famous, and be rich, you will, 1, realize real quick content creation, whatever it is freaking hard, and the grind is real. 2, not everyone who creates content will achieve that level of success. And 3, many of those people who reach that level of fame tend to get incredibly burnt out, suffer from mental health issues, and sometimes lose out on what they originally loved about making content to begin with. It's kind of the same with wanting to be known for your activism. At the end of the day, it's a job. It pays crap the majority of the time, and you are dependent upon a lot of variables outside of your control. And retirement, insurance, that's all on you. And one day, YouTube will become irrelevant. One day a new platform will take over, and maybe we've transcended the typical video content. Maybe it'll be VR, or Dream Vision, or I don't know, Smell-O-Vision. I know that my content isn't culturally defining as, say, the Mona Lisa, or the Sistine Chapel, or the Easter Island heads, but they aren't permanent either. The reason they still exist is because we put a lot of time, effort, resources, and money to make sure they survive as long as they can. Everything in the universe as we know it is finite, including culture. There will be a day the original Mona Lisa will no longer exist, just in the way the Artsy Gamer will no longer exist. Either by YouTube, by me, by some random solar flare that sends us back into the dark ages, who knows? And yet, I find myself wanting. I want to see how far I can go. I want my content to be something people and a lot of people find enjoyment in. I'd like to say I'm above the social media FOMO, that I'm above wanting views and subscribers, but I'm not. And it would be hypocritical and downright dishonest of me to say I was. It can get addicting and personal when you see your viewership go up. You start to think your value as a person is on the basis of social media numbers. And friends, we know that's crap, right? Right. You can't control the algorithm. Work with it certainly, perhaps improve your status by watching how others title their videos or what content people are watching and are creating, but you can be a literal Da Vinci in Animal Crossing, a true Casanova in Stardew Valley, and your success can look vastly different than someone else that you define as successful. Sometimes a well-lived life is an obscure one. You may not have had 6 million followers on Instagram or became a TikTok influencer, but you were part of someone's good day. You shared an experience with someone that you will look back on fondly as a vivid, incredible memory. I'm not a keyboard nihilist. This isn't me saying nothing matters or that you shouldn't try to achieve the goals that you've set in content creation, or to not start. This is me saying that content creation is taken too seriously when it comes to the algorithm the majority of the time. The time and energy we put into the variables we can't control could be better utilized in improving our craft, and being okay with short-term projects instead of expecting consistency long-term. Content changes as you do. It grows. It learns. It ends. What I have loved about this island, and specifically this build, is allowing the island to grow naturally. Once I stopped trying to force it to be a certain way, the lore surfaced, and the layout practically drew itself, and the cardboard castle became hands down one of my favorite builds. After I upload the DA, I'll do a quick tour of the island, and then meet it to the void because have you seen this island? 1, it's my best one yet, and I want to preserve the DA, and 2, the idea of flattening it already stressed me out. Like, why can't we have the option to have different DAs per island build, Nintendo? Seriously. If you've made it to the end of the video, let me know in the comments section what creative thing you're working on and hope to share with the world. Is it a YouTube channel? An Etsy store? Getting published? I'd love to hear about it. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.